Well, good afternoon, and welcome to Real Women Atlanta Live. This is our first broadcast with DKM Radio 1.1, and we're so excited about our new talk show. We hope that you guys are on. Go ahead and invite some of your friends to get on board with us. We're going to have a great discussion today. I have my co-host, Deidre Gary, that's going to be joining us as well. And we have an amazing guest speaker today, Judge Phinia Aten from the chief. She's the chief magistrate judge in Rockdale County. And so we're going to be having a conversation with her today, finding out more about who she is and also the office of the magistrate court, because there's a lot that we don't know about the magistrate court or the judicial system, period. And so she's going to be sharing with us today some information about that. So we want to welcome you guys to our very first show.
Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. And as this is pretty much a spinoff from what we do with Real Women Atlanta magazine, which is broadcast all the wonderful, amazing Black women here in Atlanta that has a story and a story that is of success and triumph in the midst of all the different things that we have that happens in life that knocks us down. These women will be a testament of getting back up again, reviving things within your personal spirit to let you know that you can do it too. So pass the word, let everyone know. And if you are interested in being a part as well of the talk show, and you have a story and you have turned things around and it's a success and you're a wonderful, real Atlanta Black woman, we want you as well. So welcome, 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 welcome.
Amen. Listen, we've last year we did some amazing things with Real Women Atlanta magazine. We were having a monthly luncheon where women would attend and they would network, they would share their stories, and we had some incredible stories of trials, tribulations, and triumph, victories. And so, because of the pandemic, of course, we had to postpone a lot of the events that we had for 2020. One of the other great events that we had was we did Black Women United, a Day of Unity celebration. We did that in September. And we started out at the Georgia State Capitol. We had an amazing panel there talking about the state of Black women today. After the panel, we all got together and we had lunch together. We unified by breaking bread. And then later on that evening, we had a celebration. So unfortunately, we won't be doing it this year because of COVID-19. But there are still amazing things that we have planned for this year via Facebook, social media. And so we're going to use this platform to do those things. But Judge Aten is our Judge Phinia is our guest speaker today. And what I wanted to do was to bring her on so that she could share with us. She's been in office now for the last 8 years. What an incredible woman that she is. She's my daughter's mentor. And so, but she's done some amazing things in this community. And I wanted to make people aware of who she is. I want her to share with us about the judicial system and things that we don't know, and things that we need to know. So let's welcome Judge Phinia Aten, Chief Judge.
Chief Judge.
Chief
Let's
Judge.
make that known.
Look at that's a bad sister. Chief Judge.
Yes, ma'am. We wanted to make sure we get it all
Stop. You're making me blush on top of my blush this morning.
That's all right,
I
sis.
am just
You
thankful to
deserve.
be on the show. This is a wonderful format. Hello, all real women of Atlanta. Thank you and your co-host for inviting me on. I did not know that I was your very first guest, so that is an absolute delight to me. And I know that this program is just going to flourish just because of who the two of you are. So positive, so informative, critical thinkers, and you both have a heart for service as I do. I share those same values and commitment as well. So yes, I have been the Chief Magistrate Judge of Rockdale County since 2013. I was elected in 2012. And as you notice, we are on a presidential cycle now. For your viewers' edification, most of our elections take place either when we have an opportunity to elect or re-elect a president or elect or re-elect a governor. So I am on what we call the president cycle. And so I was elected during President Obama's second election for his presidency as well. So I took office on January 1st, 2013, and actually immediately started working on behalf of the people. Some of the things that we do at the Magistrate Court of great significance, I am considered to be a constitutional officer. My position is establishing Georgia's constitution. Every county is required to have a magistrate court and a chief magistrate judge. So one of the things that I had to do immediately when I took office was to begin to have what we call first appearance hearings. Anytime a person is arrested and they're 17 years of older, they could still even be in high school. But as long as they're 17 years of age or older, and they're arrested, they're required by law to be brought before a magistrate. And so 6 days a week, I hold those first appearance hearings. This is an opportunity for someone's been arrested to know what formal charges have been brought against them, because an arrest can happen very quickly. A lot of times there's some communication sometimes with the charging officer that they're going to be charged one way, and by the time that arresting officer speaks to supervisors or victims or more witnesses, they sometimes amend the charges in between the arrest and first appearance. So it's important to know exactly what you're charged with. And so I do that. And then I also consider whether a person is eligible for pretrial release. That means being able to go about their business, go back to work, take care of their families, or if they're in high school, go back to high school, and stay on track with their life while they are waiting trial. So that's a very important step in anyone's life if they're arrested.
Right.
So I'm honored to have that responsibility. And I was well prepared for that type of work because I had been an attorney for 14 years prior to taking the bench. At this point, I've been a licensed attorney for 22 years. And I handle quite a broad spectrum of criminal law work when I was an attorney. It allowed me to travel all over the state. I got to see the good, the bad, and the ugly in our courtrooms. And it motivated me to want to bring that level of expertise and heart for service to my own backyard. So been doing that for 8 years. So that's just one of the things that I do.
It's so important. It's really important to, and it's so fulfilling at the same time to be able to do what you're passionate about, you know? And being able, when you're passionate about something, you're able to put your all and all into it and you enjoy it at the same time. But with certain things and the things that you experience and you see in the courtroom, I know that it can cause you, you know, sometimes mentally, physically, emotionally, can stress you or cause whatever, that can kind of take you off, even though this is your purpose and your passion that has been put before you. How do you handle that from day to day, from the things, all the different things that you see?
You know what? I'm sure that, well, let me just put it this way. So not many times I feel that stress that you're talking about. It is there because the law, as some say, is a jealous woman, meaning it takes all of your time in terms of the scholarship, keeping up with the law, because every time Congress is in session or the General Assembly is in session, they're making and changing criminal laws and changing civil laws that impact court proceedings and the outcomes. So you have to stay abreast of those changes in the law. So the scholarship never ends. And then the whole point of having a trial or evidentiary hearing is to discover the truth. And you've got everybody angle for their perspective and wanted to highlight facts or make assertions or arguments that highlight their position, persuasive to their position, but that's not always where the truth lies. So yes, you have to have a keen eye and ear. All your sensory perceptions have to be on high alert at all times so that you can discover that truth, and that you can also discover those misrepresentations or falsehoods that come along with the process, because everybody's trying to win and not necessarily discover the truth, but that is what the judge is there for, as a trier and finder of fact, the finder of fact and the finder of law. And let me just say, this journey for me started, I thought back about it, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer when I was in 5th grade, but I really hadn't given more than knowing that I was always interested in history and civics. And I had some wonderful teachers, social studies teachers, civics teachers, that really kind of pulled me into this understanding of the 3 branches of government and how they all form and shape our society and keep us going either forward or backward or staying stagnant. But what I realized is was blessed with 2 twin brothers who happened to be about 2.5 years younger than me. And I love my brothers to death, both of them, equally. And so when they would have their disputes about toys or, as they got older, cleaning up or whatever it was, they would often come to me as big sister to resolve those disputes. So, that's when my fact-finding mission and my judging really kind of started, trying to bring peace among them. And later on, I just wound up just getting into internships and finding mentors. It was always something pulling me in the direction of law and justice. And I had an opportunity to work for a magistrate court actually while I was in college, doing an internship with a very progressive program that was a community probation program. So it was like a diversionary program. And I was a court liaison between that organization and the court, and then ultimately got promoted before I started law school to be a community probation officer, actually. So the main thing I was looking at was, whether someone did the community service, whether they were doing the things, taking the classes, doing the things that they were required. And so just my whole life is just aligned up for the position that I hold. And now as a practicing attorney, I did some federal practice, but most of my practice was dealing with major felonies and, high stakes civil litigation matters, high income divorces and things like that. But I had a passion always to connect with people and get down to the root cause, get down to the gateway. And so that connection for me was magistrate court, because it does all of that. In Rodeo County, I see on average 10% of our population any given year. We process about 10,000 cases annually.
Wow.
And, we are one of the busy. People get this confused about Rodeo County because we're the second smallest geographical county. That we also are second smallest, maybe population wise, and actually we're in the top percentile. We're 27th in population overall with the state.
Judge Etienne, most people know or have had some experience with the magistrate court, but most times it's usually small claims court or through dispossessory or evictions. Can you share with us just a little bit more about the magistrate court? Because I think most times people tend to think that it's the lower court and not much happens in that court. So can you share with us just a little bit more about the magistrate court?
Okay, well, to talk about higher, lower courts. So every court in Georgia is considered to be a court of limited jurisdiction, meaning what type of cases we are able to handle, what type of judicial functions we are able to do is limited. And that's for all courts, state court, juvenile court, municipal courts, probate court. Um, the only court that we have on the county level, each county level, that's considered to be a court of general jurisdiction that can pretty much handle everything is our superior courts. And in some states, they're called circuit courts as well, but that is our court of general jurisdiction. Every other court is a court of limited jurisdiction. Now, the reason why magistrate court may be considered to be lower than some of those courts, such as superior court or state court, is because of how appeals are processed. That's pretty much it. So superior court and to some extent state court has our venues for appeals and civil proceedings for ordinance violation convictions that magistrate court handles, county ordinance violations. The city court handles city ordinance violations. But for those criminal convictions, which magistrate court has jurisdiction over to try, those are appealed by a process called petition or writ of certiorari, and those must be filed with the superior court in that court. So that is pretty much the hierarchy of the courts. And magistrate court is headed by an elected judge, which is the chief judge, and then because of the volume of work, particularly the signing of warrants, application of warrants, search warrants and arrest warrants, those happen all day and all night. As you know, law enforcement is a 24-hour pursuit. And so to that extent, they need to make a midnight search of a property or something like that, take DNA evidence from someone, then a court has to be available to do that. And so that is why magistrate court also has appointed magistrates, primarily in Rockdale County. That's what they do, is sign those warrants once the doors of the courthouse close in the evening during the week, and they sign all weekend. Many courts of our size have 2 to 3 full-time judges that handle the administrative work, the daytime work of the court, and also preside over court proceedings. Unfortunately, in Rockdale County, we really have not grown that side of our business. I have applied for positions because of the volume of the work, but all of that pretty much has fallen on me all of these 8 years. And I am proud to say that Rockdale County has had the opportunity to have elected someone twice now, second time without any opposition, that is really, truly dedicated to serving justice. And so many weekends, many holidays, I'm working. Sometimes I go in the office 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Many times myself and my chief clerk, we're walking out 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night to get the work done. So I'm doing the work of 2 to 3 full-time judges, and so is my staff. And so with that push and that dedication, we rank not even where we are in population, 27th out of magistrate courts in terms of efficiency and case management. We rank 5th in the state out of 159 counties. And so
I want you to say that again.
That I think we all can be proud of in terms of, especially the voters, and having made the right choice to elect someone with that level of dedication to getting the job done in excellence.
See, Judge Akin, can you hear?
I can.
I want you to say that again. That Rockdale County Magistrate Court under your leadership is now number 5. You rank number 5 in the entire
state. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But look, for those who can count.
And the thing about that is, we dare say, I looked at the list again last night. I don't believe there were any counties east of Rockdale to the border of Georgia that were on that list. And that doesn't mean my colleagues aren't working hard and they're not using the resources in the best manner that they can. I can only speak for what Rockdale Magistrate Court has done.
Mm-hmm.
And the closest metro court that I recall, Atlanta Metro Court, was Cobb, and they ranked 11th. So, you know, we are really, really putting Rockdale on the map in some excellent ways. In fact, I've had opportunity to train other judges and mentor other judges on our best practices in terms of case management and just on down the line in terms of judicial practice.
Wow. Like, I'm just here like, how, you know, you get so many questions all the time on how do you do it? How do you do it? Can you tell us, Judge Atin, how do you balance your career and your family, your personal life?
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of it is there's no balance there. It, like I said, it is really about putting your all into making the court great and making the community great. And so I'm still trying to find that balance, because really my last 8 years have been dedicated to restoring the court and making it better, you know, and I really like to stay on a positive note, but let's just say this. Until you walk in someone's shoes, you really shouldn't judge them. It's very difficult to judge them. You wind up being very foolish.
Right.
So when I did take on this role initially, I tried to stay on a very positive note with my campaign and speak about what I would bring as a veteran defense attorney, criminal defense attorney, and a civil plaintiff and defense attorney, having handled thousands of cases before I came to the bench, and having had some very high profile cases that made national, international news, and taking care of everyday citizens cases too. It was important for me to say all that I was bringing to the table. Like, for 10 years, I had took lawyers and judges around the world doing comparative studies of different countries' legal systems. They were called CLE SC programs. So I had a wealth of knowledge, not only what was going on here in Georgia, but around the world in terms of justice. And so that's what I decided to stay positive on. Now, when I got into the role, I realized that we had a backlog of civil cases. There were cases from that were 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, that had not seen a courtroom yet. And so, you know, and so I went through those. I mean, and literally there were thousands of them. And I charged my staff. I said, look, we're going to clear up this backlog, but what we're not going to do is chase it and continue to have one in the future.
Wow.
So
what we're not going to do. That's my favorite word.
Now we came from the
What we're
right
not doing.
to keep things on track. And so one of the things about magistrate court that people don't understand is, unlike state court and superior court, where they have their own elected clerk who deals with all the administrative work, for probate and magistrate court, you have to be a clerk too. So on top of being the only full-time judge in the magistrate court, I also had to assist my clerk staff. I had a clerk staff that you know, answers to me. And so you got all of that HR, budget, you know, all the things that you think would come with managing an administrative office of about 10 people. I had to do on top of also adjudicating several thousand cases a year. That's with me actually on the bench, hearing all the evidence, hearing all the arguments, and making those decisions. So, you know, I'm happy for what we have been able to accomplish. Obviously, I'm not satisfied because I want to be number one. Chatham County, shout out to my colleague in Chatham, actually holds the number one slot. You know, and that's a big county as well. And I believe they have multiple full-time judges that assist her. But we are going to get to number one, no matter what. I am committed to definitely raising a bar. See, I've never competed with anybody else. It's always been about competing with myself.
Right.
And knowing that God has given me strength and the blessing to see another day, He's also given me an opportunity to learn and improve. And He still stands with me. I know that, and that never came truer to me before. And so when I was applying to law schools, when I was 21 years old, and I lost two siblings in the course of 1 month. I lost one of my baby brothers I was telling you about. He died in October of my senior year in undergrad, and then my stepsister, who I was very close to, died just a few days before her 24th birthday.
Wow.
That September, same year. And I realized then that the only thing that was holding me up, allowing me to continue to pursue my education, continue to move forward my future, was God. And He saw me through that. And, you know, even to this day, I feel like I'm living the life of 3 young people, not just myself, but, you know, my 2 siblings that I lost during this journey to start serving the community as a lawyer and now a judge.
Beautiful.
Well, Judge Etienne, we have a caller on the line. We're going to bring them in and let them ask or talk for a second, and then when we get back, I want to talk to you about the gavel gap. I've heard that term, and I'd like you to explain that to us after this call. Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Hello, you're on. Okay. Well, let's bring Judge Etienne back and let's talk about the gavel gap.
Okay, the gavel gap. I know some of your audience is like, what is the gavel gap? Okay, well, I'm sure all of you know what a gavel is. It's that little thing that looks like a hammer or a mallet. It has a base, and then it has the hammer.
Right.
And that is a gavel. That implement is one of the signs of a judge, along with the black robe that we wear. And so the gavel is pretty much to bring attention to the court, draw everyone in. Many judges will strike their gavel when someone is being a little contemptuous, to warn them that, you know, it's kind of like, boom, that exclamation point. And I've ordered you, I've warned you, so you got to stop right now what you're doing. And I really have not had to use my gavel in court in 8 years. I find that our citizens are very smart, they're very respectful, you know, and they have a lot of respect for the court, and they're there because they couldn't resolve their disputes on their own. So, you know, they want to have the judge render a decision, and so everybody kind of behaves for the most part, most of the time. And I tell them really quick, this is not Judge Judy show, that's TV, this is real life. And I'm here to serve you, and there's a lot of you in the audience, so, or in the gallery, so we can struggle through this, but we're going to be here all night. So the faster you are in terms of presenting your evidence and reducing interruptions and arguments towards each other, opposing parties, then your fellow citizens sitting behind you waiting to hear their cases can get up here where you are. So that usually works. So the gavel gap is the study that was done. It's this concept that those that have studied diversity in the bench use to describe the disparity in representation on the bench, whether that's nationwide or in a local area, such as the state of Georgia. So there was recently a gavel gap study that was done across the United States, and I believe Georgia ranked 49th out of 150 counties, and states, and that's from the bottom, not the top, as we were talking about earlier.
Right.
For having the least level of diversity in the judiciary, in the face of the judiciary. And so that's important because it's not only diversity in terms of what we look like, whether we're women, men, what our backgrounds are ethnically, racially, etc. It's also about diversity in terms of thought, and cultural intelligence and awareness, and being able to share with each other as judges and share with our community so that we can get better results, better outcomes in the courtroom. And so the gavel gap demonstrated from the study that in Georgia, only 6% of all of our judges, that's judges of general jurisdiction like Superior Court or limited jurisdiction, like I said, probate, state court, magistrate, city courts, are women of color, 6%.
Wow.
Men of color represent only 9%. So together, men of color and women of color only represent 15% of our judiciary. And women, white women represent 17%, and then the rest of that, almost 70%, is white male judges. So that's what the gavel gap is, and that's what the study showed for Georgia. And as you may know, I've been praised as a trailblazer for Rockdale County because up to 142 years ago, we never had a judge of color. And so myself and Judge Mays, former probate Judge Mays, actually came in as the first class of judges of color in Rockdale County's history. And then again, I was reelected in 2016, and in between my first term and second term, we of course had Judge Cuthbert, who succeeded Judge Mays for the probate court, and then Superior Court appointed a woman of color for juvenile court as well. So I remain the only elected woman of color judge in Rockdale County.
Wow. Now, when you talk about this disparity, when you talk about this gap, there's only 6% of women of color in the judicial system in the state of Georgia. How can justice be for all? If we talk about justice for all, how can it be when we're not represented in the judicial system?
And to some extent, advocates have that same question when they go into a courtroom, and they don't see representations of themselves. But I can say that we have, and I have over my lifetime of being a lawyer, had some wonderful judicial outcomes, some very fair and just outcomes, meted out by judges that are representative of the majority community, white judges. But I really kind of got nurtured and got an opportunity to really be mentored in many occasions by judges that look just like me, women judges of color, particularly really kind of took me in and helped me develop my practice and helped me to develop my judicial temperament, my judicial opportunities, really. And so that is important for one, just to be able to not only close the gap, but also create a pipeline of judges, because there's so much, judges become better over time. And if they're not able to download that wisdom, download that experience into newer judges or aspiring judges who are worthy of the bench, then the voters, the citizens' investment in nurturing a good judge, it kind of goes away. So that is one thing. The other thing is, a lot of times there are things that are happening that are not intentionally derogatory, bias, prejudice, or even racist in the courtroom, but having a judge that has a cultural intelligence that can use those instances as teaching moments, in addition to being protective of the rights of all, protective of dignity, and the opportunity for equal justice for all citizens, then that also plays into it too. I've had to teach on occasion some cultural sensitivity, some cultural awareness, and also not allow those things to unfairly and not unfairly prejudice or redictate the outcome of a case. So that has been a wonderful opportunity.
You've been speaking a lot, and just listening to you, we can confirm that you are definitely a leader in your own right, a leader in this community, and the things that you possess and the things that you put out into the world. Uh, Can you speak to us about the importance of having a great team?
Having a great
Can you speak to us
what?
about that?
About having a great, I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Yes,
that.
the import. Can you speak to us on the importance of having a great team?
Okay. I don't know that I keep for some reason that last word just keeps a great
A
leader.
team. The
A
importance
great
of
team.
having.
Oh, a
Yeah.
team. I pretty much I got it right. Well, I believe that it's not about titles. I've never been a title chaser in my whole life, but titles have been given to me because of the work that's been seen. More and more responsibility has been given to me my whole life. I mean, I can go back to elementary school when I was a student aide, assisting the principal's office. And I don't know what it was that my principal saw me doing. Maybe it was just the eagerness to serve and run the errands and get run the copies to the teachers, whatever it was I was doing. But he saw that leadership quality. And so he would invest time talking to me about what my interests were. And I remember because he kind of looked like Dr. Sigmund Freud, wonderful, distinguished white beard. And he just had a way about him, the tweed suits, three-piece suits, and so forth. It just kind of reminded me of that psychologist. And so we would find ourselves talking a lot about psychology. And just having an adult of his distinction pay attention to me and pour into me and think that I had something worthy in my mind and that I was saying something worthy. And my parents did the same thing. My whole family really did the same thing. And so I always was in a nurturing environment. And I know that's not everyone's environment. So myself and my staff, we spend a lot of time going into the schools. We go into the juvenile detention center, trying to pour into children and give them that same sense of worth and value, because we know it's there. We know they have it. They just need more people to believe in them and show that they love them. And so I charge all of my staff to be leaders, not only in the office, but in the community. And I'm so pleased to have a team. And I've had teams over the years that have demonstrated this too. But just such a cohesive team that believes in the vision of community to court connection, and that are willing after long days, long week of work, a long day of work, to still, if I need them to go somewhere and be engaged in the community, that there's so many of them that are willing to do that. I remember being a new judge and saying, hey, at my first staff meeting, some of you've been doing what you've been doing for a little while now. Is there any way you want to change it? And you have any ideas about changing it? And just never really got the level of feedback that I wanted during those early years sometimes. But I've seen over the years just this desire with some of the team members that we've been able to bring in to improve court processes, because you can have all the technology you want, and we have been court in technology, implemented e-filing system, which has served us well during this pandemic. And that's important because there was a bill to make magistrate courts mandatory e-filing courts. That did not pass. The one for state and superior courts to be mandatory e-filing courts did pass that subsequent session. But I have this vision of bringing that opportunity to our community back in 2016. So for 4 years, we've had e-filing, even though it's not mandatory. And see how it came in, how handy it's come in now with our filers, self-represented litigants, as well as lawyers being able to file in the comforts of their own home on their laptops or desktops. So the leadership something that I'm big on, but it's also something I charge my whole team to be leaders. You know, if you see something, just do it. You know, if you see a file out of order, or you see something becoming a problem, just, you know, fix it. And so that's wonderful. I don't do well with a lot of pointing fingers and blame game stuff. That just doesn't work for me. So I charge everyone to be leaders. And we do a lot of cross training. That's been part of my agenda since day one. To have, because when you got such a small team, 8 to 10 people, if someone's out on birthday vacation or somebody's out, like right now with FMLA, because we've got Corona, they got an elderly grandparent they have to take care of, that can really cause disruptions in the workflow, because we're all doing 2 to 3 people's job as it is. So with 2 people out, that's like 6 people missing from the office. So cross training has been important, and that takes leadership to be willing, when you've been doing the same thing year after year, to now say, okay, I'm up to the task of learning how to do something else, owning it, and putting a mark of excellence on it as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That requires some leadership in your thinking, even if you don't have a title. And so I'm pleased to have a team of leaders and be a coordinated leaders.
Yes. You mentioned about the things that you've been doing in the community. I think that it is very important for those that are considering to run for political office, or those that are currently in office, that they are involved in the community, not just in the capacity of the office that they hold, but be a part of the community, show that you care. And so I think that's great that you, all of the years, even prior to being a judge, and as well as being a judge, and with all the many responsibilities that you have in the judicial system, that you are still able to be a part of the community. I think that's great, and we commend you for that.
Ran on that connection. I had seen it, like I said, with some of my mentoring judges. They would get off the bench and then they were heading to a church, or they were heading to a women's shelter. They were heading somewhere to serve continuously. And when you develop those type of relationships with your community, and they do happen to have a case that needs court intervention, there's already that level of trust. There's already that level of respect that I'm not going to be railroaded, that, you know, the judge is actually going to listen to me. And if she rules against me, I know that that's just where the law and facts lined up. There was no, there was no malfeasance involved. There was no backdoor deals involved in why we had the outcome that we have. You know, people have to know you to trust you, and so that's not just going to happen in a short time that you have on the bench with them.
Right.
You know, you can develop that, but it's so much richer when they already know you from being involved in the things that they care about in the community.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Absolutely.
It looks like we have.
I know that there are some judges, a lot of folks come into their courts, and I'm not talking about just right there. I mean, I saw this on my practice. A lot of folks that have to come in and plead to the judge for a certain level of result. You know, whether it's a young person that's got in trouble, or somebody who finds themselves embroiled in a criminal matter later in life. Something just snapped, something happened, and you have all these community members that have to come and plead on that person's behalf. It's not a problem when that happens in my court, but generally, people don't come because they already know Judge Etienne is fair. Mm-hmm. Judge Etienne is just. We don't have to.
Okay. I think we lost her for a moment. And we had a caller on the line.
Yes, it looks like 2 callers.
Okay. Can we go ahead and bring them in, and maybe it's a comment that they wanted to make, or maybe it's something that we can answer. Caller, are you there? Hello, caller, are you there? Maybe it was somebody that called in because they were listening by phone. I think that it is very important, and I'm speaking now to those that are listening or who will be listening to this, watching this video at some later time. We are in an election year. I think it's very important that you do your due diligence, do a background check on those that are running for office. Don't just take at face value who people say that they are. You need to know for yourself. See if they've been involved in your community before, running for office, or if they are currently in office and they're an incumbent, see if they're involved in the community now. If they're not, then they probably don't care about the community. They care about a paycheck or a job or a position or a title, like Judge Etienne said. You need to do your homework. I want to, and I know Judge Etienne's not on the call, but I want to bring an awareness to something.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, okay. All right. There you are.
I'm back.
Okay.
I was enjoying the sunshine, getting some vitamin D, which they said is good
Yes.
to ward off this coronavirus. But my phone got a little hot. It got hot. You know, I was cool, so I
Oh,
just had to let the phone cool off for a minute. Yeah.
So,
Even as technology, you know, you gotta work with it.
girl, technology is something else. But Judge Etienne, I was just talking about, voters doing their due diligence and not taking people. Judge Etienne giving me her hand.
I was trying to turn the volume up on my.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Talk to the hand, girl. But
No.
But I think that the voters really need to do their due diligence. They need to really know who people are before they vote for people. And like I was saying, I mean, we were just talking about being involved in the community. If we had more judges like you that were involved with the community, that understood the diversity, that understood that, not everybody comes from the same place. And so the way that they may come into your court is different from somebody who's quite polished, or somebody who is a little bit more knowledgeable or educated on what the law is. If we had more judges that understood that just because, this person is a defendant doesn't mean that they're guilty.
mm-hmm.
I think that that's very important, and people need to understand that you need to check out who some of these candidates are. There is, and I want to bring the viewers aware of, there's a thing that's called the crossover. And what the crossover is, it's where it's happening in counties that are blue counties. We got red counties, we got purple counties, and we have blue counties. Red counties, of course, are the Republican counties. Blue counties are Democrat counties. Purple are those that, of course, are blended and maybe going one way or the other. In those counties that are blue counties, what is happening is that there's a crossover that's taken place, meaning that there are those that have a D by their name. However, they have no democratic values whatsoever. They're running on the Democratic ticket because they have no other choice, because it's a Democratic county. And so if it's a Democrat county and they run as a Republican, there's absolutely positively no way they can win. And so you've got to know that is a wolf in sheep's clothing. You got to know who these people are. And so do your due diligence. I know Judge Etienne won't say. However, this is our platform, and I'm going to say that her opposition, I don't know where he's been. I know he's been an attorney. However, I haven't seen him doing much in the community prior to this election. And I don't believe, and Charmaine is speaking, I don't believe that he is a Democrat. He's running on the Democratic ticket because he has no other choice. And so we need to be aware. And there are other candidates in this community, in this county, as well as others across the state of Georgia and probably the entire United States that are crossing over. And so what they're doing is they're asking their Republican supporters to cross over and vote as a Democrat in the primaries. And so what you're going to see is when you do your background on them, you'll find that it may show that they voted as a Democrat in the last election. Well, that was by strategy. But you won't see how they voted in the general election, meaning they can vote in the local election as a Democrat, but then in the general election, they go back and they will vote as a Republican. And so that's just so that they can win the office. You gotta be aware of what's going on in your community. Don't take this election lightly.
Yeah. And we're coming to the point now where we're coming to the top of the hour. So, Judge, you're back with us. Hey. And we would, whatever word you would like to end as we get ready to prepare to come to the top of the hour concerning whatever you want to say, please, by all means, we give you the floor to do so.
Can you hear us, Judge?
I couldn't hear. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We are coming to the top of the hour.
When host speaks, I have no sound.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, in other words, as you all would say in your courtroom, we yield the floor to you, Judge. So whatever you would like the viewers to know about you, or whatever it is you want to share with them, we yield at this time to you.
Okay. All right. Well, let me just say, I draw inspiration, and anytime I'm invited to Women's Day or to speak at a church, I always draw inspiration from Judge Deborah. She was a bad sister. Mm-hmm. Yes, she was. And she was a judge and a ruler, of the ancient Israelites during a time of much like today, where it wasn't safe to travel on the main roads. People were, circumventing and going around places, just trying to be safe. There was a lot going on in that time. A lot of people killing each other, doing wrong by each other, a lot of wickedness, just as we read in the paper today. And so she was about her business and she was about her people. And, and she went outside of the courtroom. Obviously, she rendered court, I believe, under a tree in the foothills of Israel. But she went out and about and she fought the good fights necessary to keep her community vibrant and strong and free of oppression. And she didn't do it by herself. She had men on her team, great generals that assisted her. She had housewives. As you know, the final blow that took out the oppressor was rendered by a housewife. Mm-hmm. So it's the teamwork that's going to make the dream work. So I need all of the real women of Atlanta, of Rockdale, to be on Judge Atien's team, because I have been an advocate for all the things that matter to you and to me. Those are our children. Those are having a safe, thriving community that is having a level playing field where we no longer have to tell our children, I don't want to see you in a courtroom. We can now tell our children, I want to see you up on that bench where Judge Atien sits in 10 years from now, right. 20 years from now. I want to see you going through her law camp. that is only 1 to 3 log camps in the whole state of Georgia
Wow.
that offers
Come on
opportunities for
Yes.
students at an early age to be exposed to careers in law. This is an ancient and noble profession. At one time, the clergy still wears the black robe, judges still wear the black robe, and believe it or not, just shy of 100 years ago, doctors, our doctor heroes that are, keeping us safe right now during the corona age, they also wore black robes.
Wow.
It was when a scientist who was studying germs realized that some germs were easier to detect on the surface of a white background opposed to the black one that they were wearing, that they changed from the black robe to the white coat.
Oh, wow.
I think there's a reason why these 3 ancient, noble, healing professions are considered to be the 3 great professions. And I look at it this way: we're all healers. The clergy deals with the relationship between us and God. Our doctors deal with our relationship between our minds and our bodies, right? We know some disease is mental, some is physical. So they're dealing with healing us internally with those diseases that we have inside. And judges heal disputes among various members of the community. I've had husband and wives come before me. I've had sons and daughters come before me. I've seen all types of people in the community. But what I offer them when they come into the courtroom is a level playing field where everyone will be respected. Everyone has dignity. You don't have to earn it. It is your right.
Yeah.
And even when you are having a decision rendered against you, you leave out of that courtroom with your dignity intact and with a better understanding of the law. I've done so much to help our lay citizens, like you were speaking earlier about, understand the law. I know they're not lawyers. I know they don't get it, but I'm a 3rd generation educator. And that pouring into them with my Smart Justice legal series that you can watch on video before you come to court on various subjects, and having live lectures as well as time permits. I did 3 virtual career days during the coronavirus for our children. It's all a matter of thinking outside of the box, having a heart that includes everyone. You don't have to be for anything to get Judge Ten's respect and to know that she's going to render us a just, unbiased, fair decision for you. So you got everything you need right now in the magistrate court. We just need to improve upon what we already are developing. We've already made strides. And so with all of the self-represented education I've got, that's how we got to number 5, because our citizens are getting it. 1, they are upholding all the laws. Okay, we're not cutting out anything for convenience. So they know when they get an outcome, that paper they get that says that they won their case is worth something. It is appeal tight. Nobody's going to come back to them and say that they should not have won. Now, obviously, appeals to Superior and State Court are deniable, which means you're entitled to a retrial just as if you never went to magistrate court, which is one of the reasons why a lot of lawyers don't file in magistrate court. I was one of them. Why in the world would I file a suit in magistrate court, knowing the other side, even if we won, could appeal, and then we would have to litigate? My client would have to pay me more money and litigate in what's called a court of record, state or superior court. So most of my filings, if they were civil, they would be in one of those courts. That's a legal strategic decision. So all this nonsense about folks not going to magistrate court, that's just simply not true. That is based on the court. The People's Court, magistrate court, is for lay people to give them justice without all of the legal formality. But the law still applies. So you still have to have that scholarship. And so that is what I have given them. I have been that bridge. I have been that in that gap, making sure that they have fair and just decisions and that they didn't lose just because of lack of knowledge.
Right.
And so the training that I've gone to is exceptional. One of the things my opponent is trying to say is, oh, well, she spends all of this money on training. Well, first, I have the budget for it. Okay, so there's no shenanigans going on there. Secondly, the trainings that I'm going to are cutting edge national trainings where we're learning, like, I'll give you an example, body cameras. Everybody loves body cameras. Okay, but there are experts now that are providing high-level training, and it is expensive, to equip judges. And I wasn't only Georgia judge in this training. Okay, there are other judges that are concerned about justice and want to get it right too, that are learning about this technology. Well, the optics, depending on where the body camera is located on the officer, some are putting in the chest level, some are wearing it other places. It can change what you actually see. Like we saw one video where everybody in the room, all the judges, we swore that there was a high-speed chase. So this officer was just booking it across this parking lot after the suspect. Well, after they showed the real tape, he was walking.
Wow.
You know, so this is not kind of training that you get at your local level, unfortunately, because of their budget or whatever.
Right.
And so I go to trainings like that all the time, like domestic violence. I want to understand domestic violence. Rockdale ranks 7th in the state for domestic violence.
Wow.
So I need to understand this. I see domestic violence offenders and victims every day. Mm-hmm. So I've gone to trainings to understand the profile. We don't believe in profiling in the court system and judicial system, because then you start labeling people. You got to get down to the individual circumstances. But these trainings are helpful. So I learned to understand the big warning signs for fatality. When not all batterers kill, but batters that kill, we have been able to identify certain personality types and certain things that they do that show the escalation.
Wow.
That's very important. Whether you got a narcissist or someone who's a loner. The most difficult part of leaving a loner is when you're trying to leave. Yeah. Actually, it's leaving. Okay, you're safer in a relationship with them, but when you try to leave, that's when it escalates because they're lonely. They've never had anybody in their life. Opposed from a narcissist. A narcissist will it's more dangerous while you're in a relationship with them. If you embarrass them, if you do anything or tell somebody, and other people now know that they're battering you, they will go off. But a narcissist is okay once they get a new girlfriend, boyfriend, because now they got somebody else paying attention to them. So these are distinctions that I learned from experts. Obviously, I'm not taking that knowledge and just applying it blanketly on any case that comes before me. But understanding these things gives me more tools in my toolkit as a judge to relate to different people, even if it's a victim, understanding why this is the third time she's been victimizing in her batter's cases before me. Understanding those type of trainings. There's all kind of enhanced judicial skills trainings that you can get. And so these things have been within my budget, and they have served Rockdale well. Whether you're talking about innovations in terms of technology.
I think we lost her. Well, I think she's having some technical problems, but I want to say we thank Judge Phinia Etienne, who's our chief. She's the chief magistrate judge in Rockdale County. We want to thank her for being our first guest. Deidre, we accomplished we got to the end of our first broadcast.
Yay!
We invite others to contact us. You can send us an email through realwomenatlanta@yahoo.com. You can call this number, 678-381-1973. That's the number to the radio station. If you want to be a guest, and definitely we'd love to consider you to be on our new show, Real Women Atlanta Live. This is a spinoff from the magazine, Real Women Atlanta magazine. Listen, it's been amazing. We thank Judge Etienne. She is amazing. I mean, some of the stuff that she said, I wasn't even aware of. And so I hope that you've been enlightened. Deidre, anything that you want to say to our viewers before we get off the air?
Yes, I do. I'm hoping that Judge will come back in because I would like for you all to follow her campaign page. Yeah, it looks like she's coming right on.
Yes.
I'm back. I don't know. You know what? They say we fight against what principalities.
Yeah,
Look,
And this iPhone is the devil
all
today.
the time, Judge
Yeah.
Tina, all the time. It's
all
good.
the time. We were actually just wrapping up, and you came right on time. Can you tell the viewers how to follow you, your campaign, your pages,
Oh,
all that good stuff?
absolutely. I want them to follow me to the polls on Monday. 1400
Yes,
Parker Road.
let's go.
Early
Let's go.
voting starts this Monday in person. Wear your mask, bring your phone, because I think they're going to have it set up where they can text you if they can't get everybody in the room at the same time. They're going to have social distancing. We want our poll workers to be safe. Shout out to these volunteers
Shout out.
and
Yes.
the staff, yes, that are putting their lives on the line and just dedicating their time to make sure that we all are able to exercise our right to vote. The right to vote has been a journey. We're celebrating the 100th year of the women's suffrage. So,
Wow.
women couldn't even vote 100 years ago. And certainly we know the path of minorities to vote in this country too, civil
Absolutely.
rights movement. So for all of those reasons, I've been voting since I was old enough to vote. No matter where I lived, I always made sure that I was voting and involved with my community because your voice does matter. And we talk about the importance of voting and civic duties and jury service, even if the law can't. It's important for our young people to know there's much for them to do and there's much for them to be concerned about. So follow me to the polls, 1400 Parker Road in Rockdale County. You can start early voting to Monday, May 18th. I believe the hours are 8 to 4 or 8 to 4:30 for now. There's going to be a Saturday voting opportunity, I believe, on May 30th. Election day is June 9th. And you also, if you got one of those ballots at home, you were one of the people that wasn't sure what was going to go down, I applaud you for getting your voter application in. Now you've got your ballot in hand. Only a third of those who received their ballots, Democratic primary ballots, actually have sent them back. So please get those back. They have to be received in hand by election day, June 9th, not postmarked. A lot of people think if they postmarked, they're safe. They're not. For your vote to count, if it's a vote by mail, you've got to have it in before June 9th. So please get those back. And if you want to vote in person now, that is also available to you. You can learn more about my campaign at Attend for Judge. That's my Facebook page. A lot of people think it's Judge Finia 10, and yes, I do have that Facebook page, but most of the information that applies to my campaign I put on the Attend for Judge, which was my first Facebook page during my first election. Also, I have a wealth of information about my judicial scholarship, community engagement. I've received over 20 community service awards. I've been recognized by the General Assembly for my work, the Women Legislative Caucus for my work. I've received some of the highest honors named after some wonderful Rockdale citizens, such as the Gene Williams Community Service Award, awarded by the NAACP. I received the Doreen Height Community Service Award by the National Council of Negro Women. They don't hand these out to everybody. You've got to be working for the community and showing and demonstrating through your daily walk that you hold the values that we all hold dear in terms of just for all, service to all. These are things that I was raised to believe in. I believe deep in the core of my heart. I've demonstrated it. You can learn more about my proven record at, again, www.judgeattend, that's ATEN.com, and at Attend for Judge on Facebook. Let me just say this. You're going to see people start doing all kinds of things during the election season. They're going to start doing community service. They're going to start hugging babies and kissing people that weren't on their Facebook page a year ago. I know you're smart. That's why I started the Smart Justice program. That's why I believe in smart justice. It's not about just smart judges. It's about smart voters. And I know you got it. I know you've got this. That's why I've been fighting hard and strong to hold on to this important community position. That's what it is.
Yeah.
These are not titles. These are not kingdoms and queendoms. But I don't need a title. And I would say be wary of those, such as my opponent, who's been running around here for the last 2 years just trying to get a title. Some people don't know that he applied to try to be the DA. Okay, now you want to be a judge 2 years later? Those are totally different roles in the judicial system. And you had no experience for either one. You don't even have the heart to serve in any capacity. When you take an illegal picture in a courtroom without the sanction of the judge, how can you provide leadership, judicial leadership that one could trust when you don't even follow the rules now? To be a leader, you got to respect leadership.
That's true.
First off. So you have not been even a role model to keep people in a place where they want to honor your rules should you ever become any of these things that you're trying to do. At some point, people are going to harken back to how low you were willing to go for your own political expediency. And to show what? To show citizens who were arrested overnight for driving on suspended license, child abandonment, misdemeanors, things that they're considered to be innocent. All of a sudden now they're a menace to society. All of a sudden now the judge has to go over to the jail. They've got to be locked in maximum security to have their rights read to them. They can't be in a room with their neighbors, with their family members.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you really trying to say?
Yeah.
You're trying to say that I have no new ideas, that I want to take the court and the county back 100 years.
Well, we're not going to let that happen, Judge 10. We're not going to let that happen.
I know, but I just want people to be smart, and because that's what I see when I see that picture. I see
absolutely
a person willing to do anything to shame and strip the dignity off of others.
Right.
To try to get a dignified position.
Right.
I say not now, not ever. You're too old. You're 40 years old.
Right.
You know better. This is not a trial run.
Well,
this is who you are.
Well, we appreciate who
smart citizens of Rockdale County to say, no, we are moving forward. We are not
good.
Yes. I'm inspired. I'm not even in Rockdale County.
And the someone has lived in this county only 20 years has done more to serve a community that you claim you were born in. How is that?
Come on, Judge.
You can go in a community and people say, who is that? Who is that?
Right.
That means you have not been taking care of home. That means that you are not worthy of more responsibility. And I'm sorry. I've been running. I've not been paying attention to him because I already know what the ploy is. The ploy is
but we have to give him
to someone who has been doing the work and trying to get a hand up. But I'm sorry, sir. The only handout you're going to get is some instruction on how to be a true community servant. Everything you have said has been a misrepresentation of the truth. You talk about me getting there late on the bench. You're being disingenuous. When you know with criminal court, like ordinance court, when you took that picture, everyone needs an opportunity to speak to the prosecutor. It's only one prosecutor there. It will be a waste of time me coming on the bench for attendance and roll call, then only to have the prosecutor then have to try to resolve all those cases for everyone.
Y'all better listen.
We got out of court at 11 o'clock. I'm one of the most efficient judges. Then you don't talk about the fact that I'm upstairs dealing with the clerks. I'm helping them serve someone at the lobby that has a question that only the judge can assist them and give them direction on. It's only one of me. But when you look at what the only one of me has done over these 8 years, it is far more than you've done during your so-called lifetime of living in Rockdale County. It is far more than you have done during your 10 years of so-called practice in law. I came to this bench having 14 years of practice under my belt, having had cases covered on CNN, News, AJC, and other papers because I was known as a champion for justice out here fighting for the least of them.
Yes, ma'am.
I've still been doing now in greater numbers. You know, go out there and practice some law and learn some professionalism before you try to take on a title that you know that you do not deserve, are not worthy of, not qualified for, unfit for. And that's all I'm going to say. about that person. But now it's time for the people to talk. Monday morning, vote for Judge Finya Etienne for Chief Magistrate Court Judge.
Woo!
We are going to make Rosedale County time. We are going to continue to be a court that leads and not misleads as my opponent. We will be going backwards 100 years should we even fall into the ploys.
Well, we're not falling for that, Judge. We're not falling for that. Listen, we need more than the time that we have for you, because you are incredible. You are accomplished. You are caring about this community. We love you, and Deidre and I, we both wish that we had more time, because I mean, there's so much that we've learned from you today, and I'm sure our viewers have learned as well. Guys, all I can say is let's give her, let's reelect her. Let's help reelect her. Go to the polls, as she said. If you've got your ballot, send it back in, but send it back in voting for her. So again, we love you, Judge Etienne. Listen, to our viewers, we will be here next Saturday at 1:00. We are Real Women Atlanta live. So join Deidre and I. Deidre is my co-host, and we will be here again next Saturday. So we will see you on next Saturday, same place, same time, DKM Radio 1.1. And we want to send some love to the station manager, Raheem, and Anna for thanking us with the first show. Love you guys.
Yay! We love you, Judge.
Thank you.